What I want to share with you guys is that I won't be sending out the slides. However, we do have a Fund Our Future workbook. I'll show you guys really quick what the workbook looks like, just the cover of it. This is our Fund Our Future workbook. If you don't have the workbook right now, I encourage you guys to purchase the workbook. Mia, can you put the workbook link in the chat? It's just $15. And the reason why I encourage you to get the workbook is because the content that I go through today, we are following the workbook page by page, basically. I'll be hosting some other workshops in addition to what we're doing today, and we're going to go through all of the workbook material. So I know that you guys are taking tedious notes, yay, but if you have your workbook, then you can follow along with us and complete some assignments so that everything as you go on your grant search, writing, and obtaining grants journey, you will have everything in one centralized place. What you will learn about me is that as a grant professional for the past, my goodness, going on 26 years right now, a lot of this is about organization and centralizing the information that you have about grants. You can't have it all over the place, okay? On this computer, on this flash drive, in this Google Drive, on this post-it note, on this notebook, okay? So I have created tools for you guys to be able to centralize the information that you're learning so that you can be better and quicker at being able to get access to grants. Okay, so I see Mia put in the link already for the Fund Our Future workbook. You guys can grab that either now to go through with us. It's a PDF download, so you'll get a digital copy. If you attend tomorrow at the West Las Vegas Library, we will actually have some printed copies for you. So if you guys prefer to have a printed copy that you can write on versus if the digital PDF that you have to fill in, you can feel free to swing by the library. Even if you purchase it online and download the digital copy, we'll give you a free printed copy, okay? Because what I understand is that everyone has a different learning style. I am the type of person that I learn visually and by writing things down. So that's why I came up with the workbook, okay? Let me switch over here into slideshow mode. And you guys, as I'm going through the presentation, myself and my staff will be monitoring the chat. So if you guys have questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I will periodically stop to try and look to see if we have questions. You guys, I will also ask through the presentation. I will stop periodically and ask if you have questions, so you can feel free to take yourself off of mute and ask questions when I get to that stopping point, okay? So let's get right into it. Let me tell you about myself, and I'm sorry that this is misaligned a little bit, you guys, but my name is Janise Wiggins, and I bring an extensive background with regards to grant writing. I've been a federal grant reviewer for 23 years. I've been a social entrepreneur for more than 20 years. My background is actually in social work. I'm a social worker by education. I have a master's in public administration, and I'm pursuing a doctorate right now, back in school to give UNLV some more money. But I'm getting a doctorate in public affairs. I have worked with nonprofits as well as small businesses to help them get access to over $20 million in funding, you guys, from the federal government, from state, local government. When I say local, that means county as well as city. The city of Las Vegas, city of North Las Vegas, city of Henderson, as well as foundation and corporate funds. Okay. Because we're going to be going pretty quickly, you guys, I want to encourage you to connect with us on social media. I know that some of you mentioned that you saw this uh, invitation about this workshop on Instagram. We're also on YouTube. We're on Facebook as well. So, whatever your favorite social media platform, please follow us there because that's how we will be able to stay in contact with you. I release a lot of free content on YouTube. It's a sleeper. So, I don't know if you guys are on YouTube frequently, but that is definitely where you want to connect with us to be able to get access to more of our free content. We periodically host webinars like this, but I may not do it for like another 3 months or another 4 months. However, on YouTube, I'm constantly releasing new materials. So jump over there. And then I'm going to share with you some other ways that you can continue to learn with us through our Grant Me Success University. Okay. All right, let's talk about some key objectives of what we're going to be learning in this workshop. I have a quick amount of time, a short amount of time to share this information with you. Again, our library series, we're going to be able to go more in depth with you through our Fund Our Future grant series. But today we're going to be focusing on understanding where grants come from, learn effective techniques to make sure that when you find and identify grants, that you can make sure that they're aligned with the mission of your nonprofit or small business. I want to make sure that your search is effective and teach you some strategies of how you can kind of get out of the search mode. But what I want you to get into is making sure that you're applying. That's the only way that you are going to be able to get access to some of this grant funding is by applying. My clients have gotten as little as like $1,500 on the small end. And the largest grant that I've been able to get one of my clients is $1 million grant over a 2-year period. So they got a $500,000 of that grant 1 year and then $500,000 the second year of that grant. And that was to provide affordable housing and housing opportunities. So you guys, the only way that you are going to be able to get grants is to apply. And to make sure that I'm driving in that message, will you guys just type apply in the chat for me so I can see who is following along with me, because I can't see all of your wonderful faces. So please just put apply in the chat, apply in the chat, apply in the chat. I'm saying that because as a federal grant reviewer, the way that I got started in this business as a professional grant writer is that I attended a workshop series way back in 2015 that was hosted by the Brookings Institute at UNLV. And what they shared during that time is that Nevada, and I'm presuming that most of you all here are nonprofits or small businesses in Nevada. What they shared is that the Brookings Institute had done research across the nation about accessing grant funds and how communities were accessing grant funds on a state level. And what they determined is that Nevada is something called a donor state. Donor state. A donor state means that your state taxpayers, that's you and me, okay, and everyone else that lives here in the state of Nevada, we are giving away more of our tax dollars to the federal government in income taxes and in business taxes, revenue taxes, than we receive in grants back into our community. I don't think you guys heard me. We are, as Nevadans, you are giving away more tax dollars than you are receiving back in grants for small businesses to grow here in our community and for nonprofits to be able to provide valuable and needed services in our community. Somebody take a chance and tell me, what do you think is the number one contributor as to why grants, Nevadans are not getting their fair share of grants? What's the reason? And I'm not going to keep going till you guys tell me the answer. What's the answer? I see somebody put something in the chat. Knowledge. That's close, Edward. We don't know it's there.
That
Yeah.
they don't know where to start in applying that as a whole, not applying.
Absolutely. I think it's Deshauna. She just said it. We're not applying. And so, of course, education and knowledge and access to information is like a precursor, right, to applying. But how many times have you guys potentially saw a grant, were aware that there was a grant opportunity, and you did not apply? Put a one in the chat. If you've ever seen a grant, said to yourself, yeah, I think that's interesting. I think that that grant might be, for my business or for my nonprofit, but for whatever reason, one in the chat if you didn't apply. Yeah, yeah, you guys, we're missing out. And so, Grant Me Success started in 2017. After I heard and attended that presentation, I said, I've been a grant professional now for 17 years. And what can I do in my community to help Nevadans up their game and make sure that we can get money back into our businesses and our nonprofits? God gave me the name Grant Me Success, and I started my business back in 2017 before the pandemic. Okay. So I know that we've been seeing kind of grants really trending on social media, grant information and knowledge trending on Instagram. You may see it coming into your feed if you're looking for that information. But I've been in the grant industry and helping small businesses and nonprofits to get access to grants. And I want to help you do the same. Okay. So, grant sources. Where do grants come from? Just to share with you a little bit about the grand landscape, okay? When you are seeking grant funding, where do you need to look? What types of grants are out there? There are government grants and various governmental bodies. If you guys have the workbook, you should be on the page where it says common types of grants, okay? And you will see federal, state, local grants, which would be like county and city or municipal grants. There's foundations, and then there's corporations. You guys tell me really quick in the chat, where do you shop? Where do you spend money? If you were to just kind of, some of you already know, right? Like, where do you shop? Maybe on a weekly basis, every 2 weeks. Where do you shop? Where do you buy clothing? Where do you buy food and groceries? Where do you get your gas? My goodness, right? I know you guys are buying gas. Where are you going? Where are you shopping? Where are you guys spending money? I'm getting to a point here. If you can't type it in the chat, feel free to just come out, take yourself off mute and let me know, where are you guys shopping? Amazon, yeah. Yeah, I see. Sephora, yeah. Mia's going to Sephora. Okay, absolutely. Where else are you
Target,
guys shopping?
Costco's,
Yep, Costco, Smith's. Yeah, where else? Where else? I know you
everywhere.
guys are spending money. Walmart. Yeah, yeah. Best Buy. Absolutely. I share this with you guys because what I want you to know is that money is constantly moving through our economy, right? Grant dollars are constantly moving through our economy. And so, as a small business, as a nonprofit, if you're thinking to yourself, where can I get access to money? Where can I get access to grants? Perhaps some of these corporations is a place. It's kind of like a, you guys, I know most of us here are old enough to remember the Wizard of Oz, right? And what did Dorothy do? She followed the yellow brick road, right? To get to the Wiz. You guys follow the yellow brick road in getting to this grant money. Okay. It will become intuitive to you. And one of the things is, think about, where do you spend money? If you are spending money at Macy's and your nonprofit organization helps to clothe individuals, think to yourself, I wonder, does Macy's have a grant? Okay. If your organization is in the arena of housing, and you are, perhaps you're doing repairs or maintenance on your homes, right, that you're purchasing, or that you anticipate purchasing, think to yourself, I wonder, does Lowe's or Home Depot have grants? Right? If you're a photographer, if you're purchasing Nikon, Sony, uh, Canon, all of those various products, right? Rode mics, all of this. I wonder, do they have grants, right? Both for nonprofits and small businesses. Does that make sense? Put one in the chat if that landed with you. And so, what I want you to do as part of, I'm going to give you guys some homework. Okay. As part of your homework, I want you to make a list of about 5 to 10 places where you shop and where you spend money. Okay. And then once you make your list, then I want you to go online and search. I know a lot of you are using AI right now, like ChatGPT, Claude. There's a whole lot of various AI technologies. And I want you to feed that information into there, or just go on Google and say, hey, does Walmart have a grant? Does Sephora have a grant? Does Lowe's have a grant? Does Home Depot have a grant, right? Does Smith's have a grant? You guys already know the places, the corporations where the money is sitting. Does Amazon have a grant? Does Best Buy have a grant? Does Chevron have a grant, right? And I want you to see what you come up with, okay? And find the website for their application processes and begin to build sort of like your own grant database. Okay. I work with my clients. I build out a very elaborate spreadsheet for them. If you guys want additional information and access to our spreadsheet, there's something that we have called the Grant Me Success University. It's $49 a month, but what you get for that is you get a whole host of grant videos, resources. I have spreadsheets, I have templates, I have sample budgets for grants where I teach you all of the information that I have learned as a grant professional over the past 20 and 25 years. Okay. Um, Grant strategy. Become meticulous about planning and identifying which grants are suitable for your industry. As you guys heard earlier, we have several different industries that are reflected here today, and not everybody is looking for the same grant opportunity, right? But once you start looking, then you will definitely begin to find the opportunities that fit your business or nonprofit, or perhaps a business or nonprofit for someone else that may need access to funding. There's often times where I may not have a client, let's say in the agricultural space, right? But I see a grant from the Nevada Department of Agriculture. I know some organizations that work in the farming space, and so I might email that information to them. And people who know that I'm in the grant industry, they send grants to me as well. And so it's reciprocal that way. As you start to search and look for grants, you will find them. It's like a game that I used to play with my kids. When we were going on a long trip, I would play a game called Yellow with them. Okay. And what that game was is that anytime you see a yellow car, be the first one to yell out yellow and you get a point, right? If you saw a yellow Volkswagen, then you got like 5 points. And if you saw a yellow Mustang, then you got 10 points. And then whoever got the most points, while we were in the car, then that person would get a treat, right? Understand that finding grants and grant seeking and applying for grants, looking for grants, is kind of like playing the game yellow that I did with my kids. Have you guys ever um, thought about a car, saw a car, went to go look for a car, and maybe before you never had saw that car, right before you started shopping and looking for a car. And then once you got your mind set on that car, let's say it's a white Honda Civic, right? All of a sudden, once your mind was focused on that white Honda Civic, you started seeing them everywhere. Put one in the chat if that has ever happened to you. Put one in the chat if that has ever happened to you. It's looking for grants is like finding the white Honda Civic. I don't see white Honda Civics until I'm looking for white Honda Civics, right? So understand that you will begin to find grants. This is very doable. Once you put your mind, focus, and attention on it, you will say, wow. And I want you guys to email me or DM me on social media and let me know when that happens to you, because guaranteed it's gonna happen within the next week, because you guys have dedicated this time right now to start looking for grants. It's just the way that the world works, right? Okay. So let's dig a little bit more into specific various funding sources and opportunities. So at the federal level, this is where you would want to explore large scale funding opportunities. Okay. The federal government, although interesting things are happening at the federal level, okay, if you agree, just put interesting at the chat, and that's all that I'm going to say about that, right? Interesting things are happening at the federal level. However, there are still federal grants available. Okay. Don't let the talk of what we hear, the rhetoric of what we hear right now in the media, fool you or trick you out of your position. Do you guys know what I mean by that? Don't let the rhetoric and media trick you out of your position. There may very well be a federal grant right now that is appropriate for your nonprofit or small business. Okay? Either a grant or a contract or an agreement of some sort. Okay? They on the federal level, they also have things that are called cooperative agreements. It fits in the federal space. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, you got to get into our Grant Me Success University, okay? And I teach you about accessing all of those various type of federal sources. So, if you're looking for grants that are like $50,000 or more, $100,000 or more, like with my previous client that I shared with you that I helped them get $1 million grant. If you're looking for large scale grants, the federal government may very well be an excellent source for you. Okay. State grants. State grants, of course, are available at the state level. Remember that our state government is broken out very much like the federal government, where there's various departments and divisions. Okay. And so this is where now you have to start to be specific about your industry. Let's say your nonprofit organization focuses on providing education resources to youth. Then you will probably want to look at the State Department of Education. Okay. If you are in the housing sector or housing industry, you might want to look at the state Nevada Housing Division. Okay. Or if you are in Health and Human Services, perhaps you need to look at the Department of Health and Human Services, and so on. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? You guys get the flow? It With many grants in the government sector, they are segmented by industry. Okay. And so if you're in business, then perhaps your state, here in the state of Nevada, I know we do, we have a Department of Business and Industry. Okay. And so perhaps you will find grants that way, just by identifying the specific department or division that is appropriate for the industry that you're in. Okay. Let's talk about, and I don't have it here, but underneath state, the next jurisdiction might be county and city grants. Okay. So think about, what county do you live in? If you're here in Southern Nevada, perhaps you live in Clark County, maybe even Nye County. Okay. And so look at the county level and find out what grants may be available there. City, same thing. City of Las Vegas, City of North Las Vegas, City of Henderson, Boulder City, maybe Mesquite if you live out there, Pahrump, right? Um, we'll be getting into this more in detail tomorrow if you guys attend our workshop at the library. But also, again, I go a lot more into detail in our Grant Me Success University, which is all virtual. Okay. And you guys get 24/7 access if you are part of our Grant Me Success University. All right, let's talk private foundations. So, when you are wanting to engage in getting access to private foundation money, understand that they are primarily mission driven. So, that means that you need to make sure that you are reviewing the mission of that foundation. They oftentimes have what's called pillars or focus areas. They might call it priorities. Okay. That is what's important when it comes to accessing foundation funding. You are looking at that foundation's priorities. Let's say, I don't know, the Home Depot Foundation. Okay. Home Depot Foundation might say, our pillars or our focus areas are, we fund nonprofits or small businesses and projects related to getting people access to housing. We help youth education programs. We are very much into sports related programs for youth, or getting older adults active, right? So just make sure that when you are locating foundation funding, then you are getting very specific about seeing if the foundation has specific pillars. Here's the other thing that you need to know about approaching foundations. They may also have like a two-step grant application process called an LOI. You guys type LOI in the chat just so I can see that you're following along. Put LOI in the chat for me. I'm going to teach you some more grant terminology here, okay? And this is very important for you to know about a LOI, because if there is an LOI process, it means that you need to do something prior to applying for that grant opportunity. It's like, barbecuing meat, right? What do you need to do before you just throw that stuff on the grill? Marinate it, possibly, right? Season it, right? Then cook it. Okay, right? Or it might be tough, right? It might be tough. And so when you come across a grant opportunity that has an LOI, it could mean several things. And I'm going to type those in the chat for you guys, and you can make a note here. It could mean letter of inquiry. It could mean letter of interest. Okay, that's what an LOI is, a letter of inquiry or letter of interest. Oh, there's another term. It could be letter of intent. Okay, here's what makes them different. Letter of inquiry, foundations oftentimes have you submit a letter of inquiry or letter of interest because they may have what's called a closed application process. And what that means is that you have to be invited to apply. Okay. You may have to be invited to apply. It's not just that you just go online, go on their website, type in the information, submit your application. Okay. They may say, no, no, no. We get so many inquiries, right? Because we are a small foundation, we cannot handle 2,000 requests. Okay, we are going to be giving out perhaps 50 grants throughout the year, and we can't filter through 2,000. And so we want you, before you fill out our entire application process, we want you to submit to us a letter of inquiry or a letter of interest and just tell us a little bit about your organization or your program, and then we'll get back with you and let you know if we're interested in seeing your full application. Okay? Is that clear? All right, awesome. You guys are great. Y'all are doing excellent. Okay, corporate sponsorships. So understand that, remember the activity that we just did, and I said, where do you shop? You guys are shopping at all these various corporations. Guess what? You guys missed a little bit. I know it's not shopping. You don't shop there, but where do you guys sit your money? Where does your money live? It's not under your mattress right now. Where's your money? It's in the banks, Ashley. Yes. Yes. That is my emerged sister. Hey, Ashley. Um, sorry, you guys. I dropped off for just a second. Okay. I'm back. The banks, the banks. And so understand that many large corporations, as well as financial institutions, have something that is called corporate social responsibility programs and requirements. What that means is that certain corporations, especially financial institutions, so banks, credit unions, um, uh, credit card entities, brokerage firms, right? They're required to take a look at their annual profits, and they have to um, donate or give out a certain percentage of their annual profits to the community. Health organizations have to do this as well. Health insurance companies. Okay, can you guys name some health insurance companies? This is helping all of us. I love that you guys have these ideas because you guys are in the moment learning how to find grants. I love this. Um, yeah, yep. You guys know them. So guess what? You guys know how to find grants. You see how I just taught you guys that in like 30 minutes, right? Look on these corporations' websites or Google it, use AI, find out, hey, does Bank of America have a grant? Does Wells Fargo have grants? Who do they give grants out to? Is it small businesses? Is it nonprofits? Does United Healthcare, does Cigna, does Blue Cross Blue Shield, does Anthem? Do they have grants? Do they have corporate responsibility programs, right? Um, so in the grant world, we love synonyms. In the grant world, we love synonyms. So we may not call it a grant, it may be called a funding opportunity. It may be called corporate responsibility. It may be called corporate giving. It may be called community giving, right? So just understand that if you just stick with the term grant, you may not find what you are looking for because the grant industry and sector likes synonyms, and we may call that giving money process away something different other than just grant. Okay. It may be called sponsorship. All right. So make sure that you are taking note of that terminology and that you are using different variations when you're seeking and looking for grants. Okay. So, where can you begin to look for grants? What are some databases that you can utilize to be able to find grants? So, on a federal level, you can use a website that's called grants.gov. This is the centralized and official U.S. government portal where all federal grant agencies centralize the information and put in their discretionary funding opportunities. Okay, this is where you can find it. You don't need to have a grants.gov account to search for grants, but you do need a grants.gov account to apply for grants. And there are a couple of steps that you need to do prior to even being eligible to submit grant applications through grants.gov. You guys get into the Grant Me Success University. We go over this in detail, step by step, to show you how to apply for grants through grants.gov. It is an extensive process, a tedious process. It does require a couple of hours of work before you can even start applying for grants through grants.gov, but I've been helping my clients be very successful in getting access to these types of grants. So allow me to just walk you through it, okay, step by step. There's also GrantStation. After this call, I will send you guys out a resource list, or actually, I think it's in the workbook. Those of you that have the workbook now, if you scroll all the way down to the last page of the workbook, there will be some links that you see, and GrantStation should be one of those links. And because you have the PDF version, you have the clickable links. So if you use the clickable link to go to GrantStation and you want to sign up for their database, you can, but you get a discount if you use the link that Grant Me Success has. Okay. So a lot of grant databases, you guys, are subscription based. If they are private databases, okay, private companies. Government, like grants.gov, you don't have to pay any type of fee to look and find the grant opportunities through government websites. Even like the state of Nevada has uh, uh, a federal related organization called the Office of Federal Assistance. Okay. On the state level, we have something called the Office of Federal Assistance, OFA. And if I think the website might be ofa.nv.gov. Shiana, can you look that up and see if that's the correct website for the Office of Federal Assistance and put it in the chat? That website also has various both federal and state government grant opportunities listed on their website. That is all free to the public. When you get to certain subscription-based websites like GrantStation, GrantWatch, Skip, Instrumental, those will be subscription-based. Okay. However, the benefit to the subscription-based services, at least in my experience, is that they allow you to have several different, number one, they're working on this all day, every day, right? They're searching for grant opportunities every day. So if you're not in a position to look for grants every single day, then using a subscription type service like GrantStation or Instrumental or GrantWatch might be for you. Okay. Also, their systems allow you to, what do you call it? Filter the various opportunities. So either by geography, or you can filter by, let's say, the type of business that you have. You can filter your industry, your sector. You can filter perhaps if it is a foundation, if it is a corporation, if it's government funding. So that's what I do like about using the subscription-based websites. The only thing that I would caution you is, again, please only use a subscription-based service if you intend to actually look at the database and actually apply for the grants. Okay, that's the only time that you need a subscription-based service. So again, if you have the workbook, and I'll send it out, just that list, our resource list, to you guys via email as well. But you can get a discount through us through Grant Me Success because we're a partner of Grant Station. We are also in partnership with Instrumental. And so if you have been looking at these websites and considering whether or not you should get a subscription, let me send you a link because typically if you use our link, you can get for Instrumental, I think they give you like a free 7-day subscription and then like a discount on your first month of your subscription service or something like that, like $50 off or something for Instrumental. So you can use websites like this. Um, Once you find a grant opportunity, then you need to be mindful of looking at the eligibility criteria. Okay. Don't just get so excited and say, ooh, a $50,000 grant. Let me apply right now. No, you need to look and read the eligibility criteria to assess if your organization actually meets the funding requirements so that you avoid wasting your time and effort on unsuitable grants. Okay. Check the alignment with the mission of your organization and that funder. Okay. You may also need to, depending on the guidelines, they may say, you can only be in California to apply for this grant, only in Colorado. Maybe they say your organization has to be in existence for at least 2 to 3 years, right? Um, Remember that grants are somewhat and can somewhat, in theory, mimic the investor thought process. Do you guys understand what I mean by that? Type in the chat investment. Type in the chat investment because this is a key theme that I want you guys to understand. Investment, investment. The reason why I say it's like an investment is because although it is quote unquote free money, okay, that's why you guys want access to grants, right? Um, Grants are not really free money. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by grants are not free money? You have to work for it. Ah, wow. Right? You have to work for a grant. You got to put your time and effort into searching for it and finding it. You have to put your time and effort into figuring out if you even meet the eligibility criteria. And if so, you need to put your time and effort to apply for it. You need to put your time and effort into managing this grant now and actually do the work that you said that you're going to do with it, right? To accomplish the programs and your mission. And then guess what else you have to do? Submit lovely reports to explain to the funder how it is that you spent the money, right? So you work for a grant. It is not free money. Okay. And so you need to be prepared for that. It is like an investment. The funder wants to invest in your organization to help to propel you to either expand, to start up, or to enhance something that you already have going on, right? And so, in that way, think about a grant funder. And remember, grant funds are often competitive, right? It's competitive. So that means you're being assessed, against other applicants, perhaps, right? Now, there are some grants that it's just, all right, if you meet the criteria, if you meet the eligibility, you can show and demonstrate that, you got the money. Okay. I do know some grants like that here in the state of Nevada, especially for small businesses that are looking to expand and you guys need staff. There are some grants that are available through the state of Nevada that you could utilize to hire staff. Okay. And as long as you have a small business and you have proper things in place, you have your business bank account, you have your EIN, your business license, workers' compensation insurance, you have an HR payroll system in place, which we can help you to get access to. We can help you set all that up. Then you can get access to 10,000 to 30,000 in grant funding to help you hire staff. Okay. Now there are some eligibility criteria, like we say here on the screen, but we can of course explain those and help you get prepared for that. Okay. Some red flags that I want you guys to be mindful of and watch out for. Be wary of grants with unrealistic expectations, misalignment with your mission, or if the timeline in which you need to apply is too short. Okay. This is why we want to help you prepare. Okay. Applying for grants is kind of like a science. It requires some preparation, right? You better marinate and season that meat, okay, before you just throw it on the grill. So, unrealistic requirements. If they are requiring you to just do so much and you're not ready, hold off, okay? Get prepared first. Maybe this go around for this grant. Listen, grants are cyclical, you guys, okay? Do you know what I mean by that? Grants are cyclical. Oftentimes, once you see a grant opportunity, it's going to come back around. Okay. Either the next quarter, next 6 months, or next year. Okay. This same grant opportunity may come back around. And so, if you're not ready right now, please don't submit a half done application. Okay. Now, I'm not saying if just one little thing is missing, don't, then freeze up and don't apply at all. No, still apply because maybe that is a good way to introduce yourself to the funder. And then even if they come back and give you some feedback and say, we weren't able to select you this year, but you know what? Things look good and here's some feedback. We want you to apply again next cycle. Okay. Fine, still apply. But if it's something like you don't even understand the requirements of what they're asking you for and it's incomplete and you forgot the grant was due in 2 days and now you're trying to rush and put something together and don't submit. Okay? Um, be mindful of mission drift. Do you guys know what I mean by that? Mission drift. Just because the money is there and you see, ooh, this $20,000 grant, if we want to do a food pantry. And if your program has nothing to do with a food pantry, please don't apply for that grant. Right? Sometimes people get so excited and they just see the money and they see the numbers, and then they get into something that's called mission drift. And they will apply for it, and all of a sudden, your housing program became a food program. But that's not what you guys do, right? Like, that's not your expertise. We saw this during COVID too, where many organizations were asked to participate in public health activities or programming, but they had no experience in doing that type of programming. And it was a little unique, and perhaps they had some training opportunities. And in that situation, sure, it would be fine. Or if you had already been contemplating on a food pantry being part of your housing program, and that has already been something that you've been discussing, okay, fine, perhaps go after it. But if it has never even crossed your mind, and your board of directors never thought about it, you and your business partner never discussed it, don't just run after money because it's there. Do you guys get it? Okay. Overly brief timelines. So sometimes grants come out really quickly. Okay. What I mean by that is if you may see it on Monday, April 20th, and the grant is due by Monday, April 27th, and you have 7 days to put that puppy together, right? That application. You just have to be mindful of, okay, what do I have prepared already? And can I really sit down and get this grant application in and submit it on time? The goal is to submit a thorough application, a comprehensive application that is responsive to the grant app, what's being asked in the grant, and on time. You guys, after going through Grant Me Success, you have been inducted into the Grant Me Success family. We do not submit grant applications late. Okay? Why? Why don't we submit late grant applications? You guys tell me in the chat or come off mute. Why don't we submit late grant applications? I know you guys know the answer. You guys been knowing the answer to everything else. I'll wait. Cat Williams said, I'll wait. Why don't we submit late grant applications? All right, I'll help you guys out. That's what I'm here to do. It's going to be denied. Yes, they won't accept it and you won't win. So we have to, you know, one of the one of the tests, it's only a test. One of the tests to make sure that you can properly manage grant funds, right, is that you can submit the application on time. They're thinking, the funder is saying, if you don't submit the grant application on time, how can we trust that you're going to do with the money what you said you will do? Right? So make sure that you are having and building in some type of mechanism to make sure that you can track the status of where you are in the application process and put it on your calendar. Use your phone calendar, use your Outlook calendar, your Google calendar to make sure that you know when the application is due and making sure that you can get it submitted on time. Watch out and avoid funding sources that lack transparency, where it seems a little vague, inconsistent with the communication practices. And you guys, please, 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 please be wary and mindful of certain grant opportunities that you guys are finding on social media. Okay. And most funders are probably not going to reach out to you directly. Some might, some foundations might. But just be mindful of if you guys are getting direct messages or emails and it's saying apply for our grant opportunity and we only charge a $50 application fee. Whoop, red flag. Okay. Send it to me and say, Janise, does this look like something that's real? Okay. I have seen many people just taken advantage of because they're not aware of the grant industry and sector. They don't know how grants really work. And so when they are contacted or they receive this message and it says, hey, you can get a $10,000 grant and we have 50 opportunities, all you need to do is fill out this application or um, uh, I don't know what they might say, Cash App us or Zelle us or Venmo us this $50 application fee, and then, we're going to receive your application. Just know that most grants don't work that way. I'm not saying that grants never have an application fee. What I am saying is that what would be strange about that is that a funder is DMing you on your own Instagram or Facebook or email if you have never had any contact with that funder before, right? I would be wondering, how in the world did you find me? Right? Of all the millions of people that's on Instagram or Facebook, how did you find me? I have had a situation where a funder has reached out to one of my nonprofit clients on LinkedIn and said, hey, here's who I am. We're with this foundation. We're looking for organizations in your area. Here's our website. Here's our mission. Here's what we do. We would be interested in setting up a meeting with you, via Zoom or in person or over the phone to discuss our foundation. We're interested in you applying, right? Now, I have had that type of situation happen. So just make sure that you are being aware and conscious of any red flags that you might be leery of. Okay, and send it to me. I'm happy to take a look at it and let you know if I've heard of this opportunity or not. Okay. All right, you guys, we're at the homework portion. Here is your grant writing workbook, your Fund Our Future workbook that you can still download. Mia, can you put the link in the chat? If you don't have the workbook, you can still do this assignment, okay? What I want you to do now is that we've kind of gone through several ways in which you can practice looking for grant opportunities. I want you to use your workbook. It's already segmented out. It's like on page 3, I think, the various sources. And I want you to begin to write and identify 3 to 5 grants in each category that might be relevant to your organization. Okay. Take note of their eligibility criteria, of the due date, even. That's important, right? When I'm doing grant search, I also like to note the amount of money. Why? Because I want to make a determination about how much time is this application requiring, and juxtapose that to how much money it's offering, right? Is this a $500 opportunity, but they asking me it's going to take me 20 hours to fill out this application? I may not want to do that, right? But if it is, a $5,000 opportunity, okay, and I got to do 8, it's going to take me 8 hours. All right, that might be worth it, right? I'm not saying that it's always going to take you 8 to 10 hours to fill out an application. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just think about the length of the process. How much documentation are they asking you to fill out? How many questions are on there? Do they require a budget or not? So just think about the time and the amount of the funding. What I want you to get to, the place that I want you all, and my hope for all of you, is that you at least get your first grant. Why? Because it's like a snowball effect, right? Once you get that first grant and that's under your belt, you're beginning to build your grant resume. And now it might be much more easier for you to get your second grant and third grant, right? Grants beget grants. All right. So I want you guys to begin to put this into practice. If you are interested and you're like, wow, okay, that was a great preview, but I need more information, I want you guys to make sure that you stay in touch with us. We are again on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can give us a call. You can email me. I will send you a link where you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with me, um, so that we can discuss your project individually. Again, like I said, here today, so many people represent different sectors, different industries, perhaps a nonprofit, small business. And I want to meet with you one-on-one so that we can talk specifically now about your goals for grants, um, and just narrow down a little bit more, and I can give you some advice about where you can begin to look and how to start to draft and put together your grant template. Okay. I am going to stop sharing that, and I want to share our website with you really quick. I don't know if you guys have gone over to the Grant Me Success website, but let me show you a little bit about. This is our website here. Um, you can, here on our homepage, you can, of course, schedule a grant consultation with me. If you go here, it will take you to my calendar. And I have several things that we can discuss. We can talk about if you want to start a nonprofit, if you are a nonprofit and you need some grant advice, if you are a small business and need grant advice. Now, these costs here are our usual costs, but because you guys have attended this workshop, I'm happy to send you a discounted link, okay, for just $45 if you want to schedule a call with me. I'll have Shiana send that link out to you guys, okay? And then you can come over here and just click on if you want to schedule a call with me, and then I'll have my calendar up there for you with the dates and times that I'm available, okay? The other thing that I wanted to show to you is here in our courses. I've been mentioning the Grant Me Success University. You see here that we have a couple of our YouTube videos here. You guys can go onto our YouTube channel and watch our graduation from our one of our academies, our Nonprofit Leaders Academy. This video here is just some testimonials here that you can hear from some of our graduates that have been through our Grant Me Success University. The Grant Me Success University, as I shared with you guys earlier, is just $49 a month. We're running a special. It's usually $99 a month. And so get in by April 30th because you will have access to our Nonprofit Leaders Academy, our Grant Writing Academy. We have a Small Business Grant Academy as well. Plus, you'll receive 3 free consultations with me as a grant writer, to be able to help you work through this grant journey a bit more. You just need time. Like with everything, everything requires time, okay? And so if you guys get into our university and work with us for 12 months, we can make sure that you guys get on an excellent path to your grant journey, okay? All right, you guys, thank you so much for attending. I am going to stop sharing.